I said before, the first minute is going to be me adjusting the camera.
Let's blow out everything in the background. All right.
You're in the frame. Ooh, it's wobbly. Stop it.
Wobbly. It's a good look. Get that wobble life. Well, it's so that people get the illusion that we're on a boat.
Sarah had never seen that.
On a boat?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wait, no, you did. You didn't know what Lonely Island was.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
All right.
So we should. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, it's chill.
Yeah.
It's chilling.
We might have to review the sound quality because we're super professional all the time here. Clang.
This week in the Ronin Strength
Days
blog.
of our lives. Yeah. A weekly recap.
A weekly recap. This week, AJ found out.
Well, I didn't find out, actually, that I would be going to Ninja Warrior, which is frustrating because they're filming for that on this coming week. And so that means that my past year of training has all been for naught. Unfortunately,
that's the frustrating part.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about today is how to deal with massive setbacks. And to put in perspective, John had been putting me through a very extensive training cycle, which was about 6 days a week of training, 3 days at top strength with strength training and endurance, and 3 days climbing for the most part. And each time was between 2 to 4 hours depending, and a ridiculously strict nutritional diet, nutrition filled diet. And
nutrient dense, calorie counting, macronutrient counting, just a lot of work, like really rigorous work, right? To be an athlete is difficult, and that, originally when I told you that you are an athlete, it is what I'm speaking about really is the mindset of being an athlete and the fortitude that it takes to go the rigors and the repetition, the non-stop pushing forward in training, and it's a lot of work, and to basically get to the end and to not get to step on stage and get the diploma for graduating kind of just sucks.
Or even just not getting the chance to fail.
Yeah.
Like if I had failed, if I ran the course and I'd fallen like I did last year, I would have left disappointed, damn right, especially after all the training I did, but I would have left disappointed yet driven to look at what I did not do well, correct that, and then go from there. Like, I failed last time because of my grip strength more than anything else.
Yeah.
And we spent a full year developing my grip strength. I went up twofold. So like I couldn't hang from a bar for more than like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I remember we had only had about 4 weeks of solid
actual
Ninja Warrior style, like thinking about the course and the obstacles that he would face, like only about 4 weeks of training for that, which is nothing.
Absolutely not.
It's not enough to adapt to. You can't get any major adaptations in that amount of time.
And we only had that amount of training because that's when they let us know that I was going to be on the show. So the 9 months prior to that, I was training for stunt work.
Yeah.
And for just general fitness and
to not have broken shoulders.
Yeah, for recovery. That's right. And then 4 weeks out from the actual competition, they're like, "Oh, hey, BT Dubs, you made it on the show. Go you."
We tried a quick cut at that point too to cut the weight down, and you ended up being exhausted and inflamed from that, and you were also doing obstacle course stuff at the time to try to get you as prepared as possible for it, and then you ended up with the same elbow tendonitis issue that we've recently hit again and overcome again.
So and because of that, we learned a shitload about what to do and what not to do. and we took this really, really nice progression, this really like, streamlined path over the past 12 months of just incremental and consistent milestones and knocking them out one after the other. And I did still have elbow tendonitis. However, it's through extensive warm-ups and through getting it checked out and stuff. It doesn't affect my
anti-inflammatory protocols.
Yep.
I loaded AJ up on everything that I knew of. That every time I've gotten injured, I've fallen back upon. That has helped me. What I believe has helped me. What's backed up by science.
Yeah.
but
actual science.
Still believing myself that it actually works to that degree.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of threw that on AJ's back, like we need to take this stuff seriously, like the recovery end seriously.
And that was huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Recovery and also the dynamic, the different types of exercises we did.
Yeah.
Were both for getting better, but also for keeping me interested in the exercising part of it. Because honestly, deadlift, bench, squat, all that shit bores the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for like 900 years.
Yep. Yeah.
So I can move a lot of weight from this position to this position, which is great, and it does have a lot of transfer, carryover and stuff. But it was the addition of climbing.
Yeah.
It was the addition of all the supplemental stuff that you tacked on to the workouts.
Yeah.
That made it feel catered toward Ninja Warrior, and it made it feel catered toward my actual interests. So it wasn't as much of a fucking grind to get through. Because, dude, 6 days a week, it's a roughly average about 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's a part-time job.
Yeah, it's really tough. Number one, because you're spending time and energy and focus instead of making anything out of it, anything else that you could be making with that time, energy, and focus.
Yeah.
Including money. Because it's a cost, right? It's a huge cost when you think about it. But nonetheless, I'll talk about the program design really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
So the program design that I worked with AJ, I wanted to keep the Pareto principle in mind with programming. So the biggest bang for your buck things always need to be placed as priority. So it would always include some form of squat, bench, dead, and overhead press, because those are the most weight that you can move with your hips and your shoulders, and those are the most major functions of the body. So that's what I loaded him with. But the minutia was the accessory lifts that I threw in beforehand, and I threw them in beforehand because knowing that he would be too exhausted to do them correctly afterwards, I put them in before as primers.
Mm-hmm. And they were fun too.
And it mixed it up. It made it different than just going in and lifting. Yeah. And then I noticed that it was taking too long and he needed to lean out anyway, so I shortened the rest period to like next to nothing on those. So you have all these like kind of easy, moderate exercises, but done like very quickly in order to ramp up your body before you get started lifting a heavy weight. And it seemed to work out pretty well. Yeah. And I considered those strength days still supplementary to actual climbing, because climbing is the sport-specific form of training for Ninja Warrior. And I think that climbing has a great degree of scaling ability, so that you don't just have to go in and do the whole damn Ninja Warrior course front to back every day with no warm-up and get overwhelmed with how much pressure and intensity it is itself. Mm-hmm. And it allows you to actually make progress. And I guess that's my most major point, and what we had struck upon before is that shit takes time to develop. It's not going to happen overnight. If you want to become champion, it's going to take 6 to 8 to 10 years to create champion like structure.
And we're talking like the highest level professional champion. Yeah. Olympic level.
Yeah. And in this case, winner of Ninja Warrior level.
Yeah.
So to get through all those courses, no doubt, you have to be prepared on every end. Mm-hmm. And of course, the things that are outside of your control is they have to pick you, which is fucking lame.
That's the part we'll touch upon next.
Yeah.
Right? But before we get onto that,
Yeah.
let's wrap up the rest
programming.
of this programming. Yeah. And that also includes nutrition. That was a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my major goal, coming from last year into this year's competition, was to make sure that you were strong enough, specifically with grip and climbing training, because those are 99% of the course obstacles.
Yep. Fun fact: there's not a pickle jar on the planet that I struggle with.
And I wanted to make sure that you were light enough, that you didn't have any excess weight on your body. And so the idea was to get AJ to the point where his body was dense muscle mass, and pretty much only the muscle mass that he required to get through the course, to get himself through the course. So the highest priority was getting through obstacle coursing, and secondary priority was basically climbing to get through the obstacle coursing, and then third priority down the list was chin-ups specifically.
Yeah, specifically chin-ups.
Because that's, again, a huge skill. And then every other barbell lift that we did was after that, and then the accessories that added to those lifts were next priority down the list. And so that's all the work that really was put into this to get this accomplished. And I still say that even though not making it to the event is a huge blow, that we still saw massive amounts of success.
We did, and that's the psychological part of this, right? So that's the part that you have to take away from this in the end, is the fact that it's not just like you built something and then it's not a sandcastle, right?
Yeah.
It's not gone.
Right.
Like, we built in me a bunch of these skills and baseline strengths.
Yep.
So I still have that regardless of whether I do the competition or not. What I'm struggling with now is what to do with that stuff.
Yeah.
To justify me having it or continuing to develop it.
Right.
I think one of the things I need to do on a personal level is to compete in something, and soon.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like something regional, something local, like, if it's an extreme bake sale, I need to compete in it just to be
The
able
hot dog
to.
eating contest.
We can do that.
Hot dog
we can
juggling.
Set that up.
Yeah, like if it's a Tough Mudder, or
Yeah.
if it's a Spartan challenge, or even if it's just a ANW and something or other, like the Ninja Warrior competitions that occasionally
American
come around.
Ninja Warrior the mini comps.
Yeah, they come around.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Just so that I can at least gauge personally, like, where I am at now, because I know what I did last time.
Yeah.
And I know
Operating on next to nothing, you still made it through the getting on the friggin' show in the first place.
Huge.
And then showing up and doing it, and then just getting literally hung up on one obstacle that was unfamiliar,
Of course.
and no doubt from the progress that I've seen climbing, you are significantly more prepared than last time. And
Absolutely.
and honestly, if you figure out a way to push through this terrible blow, I think you'll be more prepared next year too. If you decide
That's
to
the
continue
thing,
doing
right?
it.
Yeah, all right. So honestly, I would love to continue this training. I would love to be able to justify this and say, okay, well, next year I know I'll get on, and that makes it all worthwhile. But I don't know that. So that's the big part of this, right? Is that I could pour another full year of putting all my other priorities, like stunt work and writing and other commitments I might have, on hold, on the back burner, and just dump all this time into this one pursuit, and then still not get to compete. Someone's just like, oh, we don't like the shape of your jaw.
Yeah.
We don't like the color of your eyes or the sound of your voice. So sorry, you're not going to be on the show. Like, in no other weightlifting or fighting or martial arts or any other sport do they just say, hey, listen, because of reasons you personally do not get to compete.
Maybe MMA. Maybe MMA is that political, or wrestling might be that political. Like where they don't like a character enough, or
So that kind of
because
boils.
entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. So again, that's the other thing about these type of shows is, their reality shows first and their fitness competitions second.
Yeah.
You know, so they don't have to play by the same rules. And I'm not saying that this is a negative against Ninja Warrior, because despite not getting on and being upset about it, I still would love to. You know, I still think that it is last year was a really great opportunity, and it had to be for me to dump all this time and effort into trying to get back on.
Yeah.
I'm just extremely frustrated, like 50,000 other people that did not get the call this year.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
And I said this to you the other day too. I don't consider it a failure because the work that we got accomplished was still accomplished. So even though we didn't get to show off the amount of work that you've gone through, you still got it done, and you're still healthy.
Yeah, I'm healthier than I've ever been.
Yep, you're leaner than you've ever been. You're stronger than you've ever been. Especially more prepared for these type of obstacles.
Like last year, I couldn't hang from a bar for more than 30 seconds. This year, right now, rather, I mean, I can, and I couldn't do. I was around like V1, V2.
Yeah.
And now I'm climbing V5s.
Yeah, on bouldering.
Bouldering rock climbing, yeah. And then I'm able to now hang off a bar for 2 minutes, easy.
I think we worked from when we first started doing top roping too. We started at like the 5'5", 5'6" range.
Yeah,
and then you were able to get 5'10", 5'11".
10, 11, yeah.
Yeah, so, and that, you haven't hit top roping in
a long time now.
7 months.
Yeah, we switched over completely.
Yeah, so we started, to go back to that and explain our progression with that. My idea that I told AJ, and he agreed with it enough to do it, was we start with endurance climbing. So we started with top roping with a harness, the auto belay, and we would go all the way up and we would drop it first. And then we eventually made it into go all the way up, all the way back down, climbing up, climbing down, just to develop grip endurance, right?
Yeah.
To get used to get the tendons and ligaments used to holding all of the pressure of your entire body weight on your hands with zero risk of injury. So if you're going deep into muscle fatigue, you're probably not going to pop a tendon when you go to grab something, because your forearm's going to be on fire, and you're probably going to say, I don't think I can climb this right now, as opposed to grabbing onto something that you possibly could or could not grab, where the risk is really, really high and the intensity is really high, and then suddenly you don't know what the hell happened and your finger's dangling off your hand.
That's no bueno.
That's not fun to pop a tendon. Not fun. And it doesn't, your finger won't work the same way until you get it reattached. So we successfully avoided that.
Yes.
Developing your strength over time.
Another big positive about top roping was the psychological component.
Yeah, getting up really tall, really high up there.
Climbing really high. Yeah, that was like, especially the one we went to in South County.
Wakefield, South County.
Yeah. Because it was like, what, 50 feet up?
It was really tall. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was like scaling the side of a building. Yeah. And you're just up there suspended by a rope.
Yeah.
And so it's that whole psychological component of like, all right, well, I'm here now. I have to trust my feet have good holds, my hands are strong, or else, you just feel like you're going to plummet. And you do, of course, but at a slow rate.
I do want to go back there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do want to drop in back there. If your account is frozen at the other spot, we can definitely swing over and do that at some point in time.
Absolutely. It'd be fun.
What else do we want to touch upon?
Just going forward, man. I don't really... So, I'm at the point right now where I don't really know what I'm going to do next, at least fitness-wise. I'm doing a 2-week deload, like deload from everything.
I told AJ, just take a step back from everything. Nothing's gonna happen in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him to like eat Twinkies every single meal. And,
Damn it! That's the only reason I agreed to
binge
this.
drink for breakfast.
I'm drunk right now. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I don't think that taking a 2-week off period of, train however you want to train, don't train at all if you don't want to train, if you're completely uninspired, like just let your body heal. I know that people that are in the obsession and momentum of building something will completely disagree with that, and I'm totally fine with that, because at one point in my life I was there too. I'm a little bit older now. I've gone through, I want to say a good 10 years of serious training.
At least, yeah.
And more than that of non-serious training. You know, I mean, I've been doing something physical since I was 5, but there is nothing wrong with reaching your pinnacle in your program and being like, okay, that's the maximum amount of days that I could put in, that's the maximum amount of effort that I could put in, that's the maximum amount of sets and reps and weight. I think I'm going to pull back for a couple of weeks. I don't think anything negative is going to come of that. If anything, I think your body will just completely recuperate. And on a coaching psychology side of things, I think it really lets you figure out what the hell is important.
Yeah. So that's what this is figuring out priorities.
Yeah.
And, you know, who knows what that might mean. That might mean I drop down considerably in my, that might mean I cut climbing out altogether if I'm not planning on going to Ninja Warrior, and only do it every once or twice a month when everybody gets together.
Yeah.
And then also cut down on strength training to something that's a lot less time consuming.
Yeah.
And then focus
1 hour 2-3 times a week.
Yeah. And then focus on driving down to New York each week and training with stunt guys there.
Yeah.
You know, that might be the route I go. But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out all these pieces moving around and stuff.
And we will adapt whatever programming is necessary to make sure that you maintain and steadily and slowly move forward anyway.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to understand that fitness and this pursuit, occasionally obsession, needs to fit your life. Your life, it can't be the other way around.
Life
Yeah.
is the big goal,
Yeah.
not squatting.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Life. Squatting, okay, let me just say really quickly, I think it's great to have these huge goals, and I think once you achieve them,
Huge
you need
thighs.
to figure out what the hell you're doing with them. Like, squatting a lot of weight is awesome. It's very respectable. How is it going to help the rest of your life? Unless you are becoming a sponsored athlete and you want to sell fucking protein powder on Instagram, it probably is not going to help that much.
Yeah.
You know, if you're the best squatter in the world, maybe it'll help you. Ask Ed Cohen, who destroyed his knees squatting, but is a world record holder squatter. So this is something that he's
That's
going
the
through with
trade-off.
this right now. Is like, you know, is it worth it to do another year of training to maybe or maybe not go into the next competition, you know, and not see anything from it, and to still, and even go into the next competition, who knows what the comp holds, you know,
'cause you
for
never
obstacles.
know
You never know what it's going to be.
The actual obstacles.
And
Even
how
if you
far
get
are
out.
you going to make it? Like, you step on stage and you slip, and like just first thing you do, you slip, and now it's, you know, it's another year.
Yeah, I saw a dude's shoe come off. We all did, actually, at the time we went. He was running, and his shoe just flew off into the ether.
That
And
sucks.
yeah,
What do you do?
he just took off his other shoe, but
Oh,
he didn't
man.
train without shoes.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how that, like now he can roll his toes by
Yeah.
accident, you know?
Yeah.
So there's so many chaotic, and that's not just in Ninja Warrior, that's also in like, you know, any competition, like something could happen and you don't know.
Yep.
It's so hard to plan.
Yeah, and that's not the most disconcerting part. It's that there's not a comp every weekend that you can go to and do this.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like fighting where there's probably some sanctioned competition at least once a month that you could go to, and the organization is good, and you have multiple people showing up that want to do the thing, and you're all serious, and there's some stake in it for everybody. This is just
Stink.
get on TV, make an entertaining thing happen. The producers get to decide whether or not they like it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It's not. It's just. It's such a weird form of competition. That's my quarrel with that.
It is sexy, man. It is sexy to be on TV doing something very physical that you trained for, and to feel that adoration from the people who are there and from the people who text you like 5 months ago later and say, "Holy shit, I just saw you doing the thing on Hulu." You know, so it's like everything. It's a great give and take. You know.
So I guess in closing, give us your opinion. any of you that survived this 25-minute video of us blabbing on about training and stuff. Give us your opinion. What do you think? What do you think AJ should do? What would you do in the situation? Have you come across anything that was as disconcerting and then still made it through to anything else?
Yeah, what are your biggest hurdles in training in general? Right now it's my hair, apparently. This is a co-starring my blue.
Just chop that way down.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, let us know.
Peace. Oh,
What?
also, if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter,
Yes.
do that. I'm going to have links everywhere to do that. Ronin Strength newsletter.
And remember to subscribe to this. Is this going to be on YouTube?
YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Like, subscribe.
All that stuff you're supposed to say.
Show us your favorite mug.
Yes, it's super important. We're done.
Oh shit, that's actually really. Alright, ready? Avengers style. Oh, come on, why don't we get this show? It's all a pack.
Okay, guys. You need to. Is that on
Video.
Yeah, you're good.
When have I ever hurt you?
Climbing is hard. Oh, thanks. I'm done.
This is us. It's self-spilling. I'm making.
I'm waiting.
What are we doing?
Group picture.
John's just being narcissistic in front of the shot.
That's a fail. Let's retry that again. Excellent. Really good.
I hate you so much. I'm posting this whole video.
Why is the lighting so good?
No, it's the iPhone X. It brings striations out in your pecs.
All right, John. Yeah, I know you miss
It's actually not real. You actually don't have any muscles.
How do you still have that much muscle?
I really don't understand.
Dude, keep
Apparently
the
I
lighting
don't
right here
understand
though.
how,
It's just like
metabolizing works at all.
Muscle structure.
7.
Let me fucking do this.